Hello, my name is Charlotte Wilkins. I'm an art historian, lecturer and guide based in Paris. I was delighted to be invited by Douglas Pearce, the founding director of Vendôme Circle, to take part in a virtual poetry reading group. So I've selected 3 poems that I'm going to read out for you. The first one is by Emily Brontë, and it's called "'Tis Moonlight, Summer Moonlight." And I like this poem because it reminds me of a summer in Italy that I spent, and it's very much a reverie kind of poem at the moment while we're all shut indoors and cannot travel for the time being. So it goes like this. "'Tis moonlight, summer moonlight, all soft and still and fair. The solemn hour of midnight breathes sweet thoughts everywhere. But most where trees are sending their breezy boughs on high, or stooping low are lending a shelter from the sky. And there in those wild bowers a lovely form is laid, green grass and dew-steeped flowers wave gently round her head." The second poem I selected is by Keats, who's one of my favourite poets. His words are like music to me. And this is a sonnet called "To a Friend Who Sent Me Some Roses." Roses that happen to be my favourite flower as well. "As late I rambled in the happy fields, what time the skylark shakes the tremulous dew, from his lush clover covert, when anew adventurous knights take up their dinted shields, I saw the sweetest flower wild nature yields. A fresh-blown musk rose, 'twas the first that threw its sweets upon the summer. Graceful it grew, as is the wand that Queen Titania wields. And as I feasted on its fragrancy, I thought the garden rose it far excelled. But when, O Wells, thy roses came to me, my sense with their deliciousness was spelled. Soft voices had they, that with tender plea whispered of peace and truth and friendliness unquelled." This sonnet has a particularly magical air to it somehow, and to me it evokes forests in a medieval setting, and I find it quite magical. The last poem I'd like to read to you is by Oscar Wilde, one of my favourite authors, and he spent a time in Paris, as I'm sure some of you know, and the poem he wrote is about Paris. It's called Le Jardin des Tuileries, the Tuileries Garden, which is the garden right next to the Louvre. The Louvre is a place that I spend a lot of my time in the normal way, and of course I can't go there at the moment, but his description, that obviously dates from a long time ago, is still extremely accurate today, so that's why this poem is one I really liked. "This winter air is keen and cold this winter sun, but round my chair the children run like little things of dancing gold. Sometimes about the painted kiosk the mimic soldiers strut and stride, sometimes the blue-eyed brigands hide in the bleak tangles of the bosque. And sometimes, while the old nurse cons her book, they steal across the square and launch their paper navies where huge Triton writhes in greenish bronze. And now in mimic fight they flee, and now they rush, a boisterous band, and tiny hand on tiny hand climb up the black and leafless tree. Ah, cruel tree, if I were you, and children climbed me, for their sake, though it be winter, I would break into spring blossoms white and blue." Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed those poems as much as I do, and wishing you a lovely day wherever you are in the world.